So I have upgraded to the Mamiya RZ67 Pro 2. And originally when I first got into film, I've been shooting film for about 5 months now. This was the camera that I wanted. Obviously a lot of people that get started in film, they watch Willem Verbeek, people like that on YouTube, and they have the RZ, and of course it got pretty popular and the price rose, and I just didn't think I would ever spend that much on one. So I bought the RB67 with a couple lenses for around 500 bucks. I really like the way that the RB worked. I love the size of the negative. It pretty much ruined me for 35mm, and that's why I'm selling my Nikon FM2. So I'll put a link in the description if you want to buy a 35mm camera. So now I have two cameras, the RZ and the Mamiya 645. I have no need to purchase another film camera. This is exactly what I want. I have the 110, which is my dream lens, and then I have the 180, which I purchased on Used Photo Pro for $60, and I highly recommend using that website for used lenses. They have prism finders, focus screens, everything. So I have the 110, the 180, and I just purchased the 65mm, and I'm waiting for that to come. I have yet to use a wide angle on 6x7, so I'm super excited to use that. So I've taken this camera out for just one day so far, and I took it down to my mom's house because apparently I like to take pictures of horses to test out new film cameras. So I'm going to put some of those on the screen. I just loved the way that the 110 separates your subject from the background. It's unbelievable how good it looks. I did purchase a Type E focus screen, which is like a unicorn, people say. So I'm lucky that I found that. I have not used that yet, I just put it in. So these pictures that I'm showing, I used Portra 160 and Fuji Pro 400H, and this is with the normal focusing screen, and it was super easy to focus compared to the RB. I think because the 2.8 lens allows a greater, a shallower depth of field, so you can focus a little bit easier. I think the viewfinder was a little bit brighter too. Some of the main reasons I got this camera was just it's a little bit lighter. Obviously it's newer. It was introduced in '95. I like this, the little switch here to rotate the back. It's super easy. The back is just made a lot better compared to the RB. Just everything's newer. But the main selling point for me was the 2.8 lens. I'm actually going to take this out. I have another roll of Portra 160. Once I get the 65mm lens, I'm going to take it out. It's a nice sunny day. I'm going to shoot some landscape stuff, just try to find some things to shoot, and we will go from there.
Okay, so I thought this would be like an easy way to demonstrate how I meter for a scene. So what you're seeing here is the car that I was shooting today. The sunlight was coming very harshly down. It was around 1 o'clock. So I was metering at 100 for Portra 160. And when I would meter here, the sunlight was hitting that directly. And it said I would have to be at 1/2000th at f2.8. So obviously you can't do that because the RZ only goes up to 1/4000th shutter speed. And then when I would meter here in the shadowed area, it would say 1/125th at 2.8. So the first couple shots I obviously took there at 2.8 with the 110mm. And those turned out great, but obviously I wanted to shoot here and I can't get to 2000, so what I would have to do is either bump my f-stop up to 4, and then my shutter speed would be cut in half to 1/1000th, and you would still be overexposed. And then if you go to 5.6, you would be at 1/500th. And since the shutter speed top is 400, you would be still overexposed by 1. But since Portra is very good at overexposure, I went ahead with the 4 and the 1/1000th. So I'd be plus 3 stops overexposed, which isn't terrible. So this first picture, I actually went to this American Cleaners laundromat that was shut down, and this was the first shot I took with the 65mm lens. Shot it at f8, and as you can see, super sharp. The sign, I actually desaturated the blues in this a little bit. This was at 5.6 and Portra 400 again. Didn't think this one was going to turn out as good as I hoped, but the red really pops in this, and then the American flag in the window was just a really good look. It's super weird to have so much space with the 65, but it's definitely a good change of pace because there's a lot of shots that I wanted to shoot with the 110 or a lot of different scenes, and I just didn't have enough. It just wasn't wide enough to get the whole scene in there, so it's nice to have that. This was right down the road from the donut shop, just this car with these rims, and I just liked the way that it looked. Once again, 5.6, and then I just got a little bit closer. Didn't really like this shot, but again, I'm just testing this lens out right now. Then I was driving through a neighborhood called Tower Grove in St. Louis and came across this Cadillac. Didn't change up the settings at all, 5.6 again. And then I actually switched lenses and went to the 110mm and just got this straight on shot. And I really liked how this turned out. And then I got low on this shot and just wanted this to be really symmetrical, and I liked the way it looked with the trees in the back. And this one just turned out really sharp, the grille and the Cadillac logo, and I actually upped the red in the Cadillac logo just to give it a little more pop. This was a car around that same area that I came upon. This is with the 65, and then a little comparison between the two, the 65mm on the left and then the 110 on the right. This next one was with the 65, same car. Really liked how this looked. When I had the 110 and I would try to get like a full car shot, it would just be, you would have to be so far back, and then to get everything in focus, you would have to close down to around f8 or f11, and I just don't like to do that, specifically if I'm using Portra 160, because you just won't have enough light. So I really like how you can get everything in focus with this. And then another one with the 65, and then Portra 400, and then switching back to the 110 just to get that nice separation on the taillight. And then this last picture that I took just to finish out the roll, just in my bathroom, a mirror picture, and this was actually taken at 1/15th of a second, which was pretty surprising that it turned out so sharp. So I was happy with that, to know that if I needed to, I could go down to 1/15th of a second. So overall, love the RZ. It's the best film camera I've ever used, and I look forward to using it a lot more. And I hope you subscribe, I hope you like the video, and I look forward to making more videos for you to learn, and for me to learn as well, because I don't know that much. So it's nice to make these videos and try to inform other people about how I shoot, because it helps me learn too. So yeah, drop a like, and I'll see you in the next one.